I'll call the meeting to order again then, because we're now being recorded at 6:06. And I believe we have present Bob Jackson, Randy Heuser, Eric Alvarez, Ted Ruthenberg, Alderman Stevo, Jim Postel, Betty Harmeyer, and Alderman Bill Fahrenwald. Have I missed anyone?
Yes, Howard is here.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, under citizens' concerns, I did receive an email. It actually came from Alderman Klinker. And he said, I have spoken with numerous residents in the 2800 block of Edison regarding the street resurfacing project on their block and the surrounding streets. They have expressed numerous concerns about the quality of the work being done by the contractor. I personally met with a couple of the residents on their street last week. Their concerns are, number one, the first layer of pavement is down and it is so thin in spots that you can see bare spots. Number two, while there is a fresh oil sign lying on the side of the road, no oil was ever placed down before the pavement went down. Two separate residents told me about that. Number three, proper preparation of the road was not completed. The pavement went down over soil. There is no base layer under the pavement. Number four, you can literally pull up the layer that is down with no effort using your bare hands. Number five, at one point, a resident had to stop the crew from paving over an active water leak. They have videos of the crew paving over water running down the street. Number six, the street was not leveled before paving. Asphalt is over 2 inches thick in areas and paper thin in others. Number seven, one of the crew members told a resident that this is the best you're going to get, that's in quote, and quote, it's better than it was. The residents are concerned about the deterioration of the street in the future. They get a lot of traffic from the high school as well as trucks that use their street to go around trains on 127th Street. They have videos and photos of the work and lack thereof as it was being done. Mr. Alvarez contacted Mauricio Castro at my request regarding the issues. Mauricio and other residents met with him. Apparently the company offers a 1-year guarantee on their work. They discussed the issues. I just got off the phone with Mr. Castro. He's still concerned that nothing will be done to correct these underlying issues, and the street will be crumbling very soon after completion. A 1-year guarantee on this work is not sufficient. If we're having to pay to have it fixed, it must be fixed right. I'm also very upset about the cavalier attitude this company's employee had with the residents. Can your committee make sure this project is completed correctly? Signed, Jim Klinker. So I'm going to direct that to you, Eric. Hello?
Am I off mute? Hello? This is Eric. Can you all hear
Yes.
me okay? Okay,
Yes.
Sorry about that. Alderman Carr, so this is Eric Alvarez, city engineer with Robinson Engineering. We met outside with residents and public works. We agree completely that there was a lack of asphalt prime coat put down, which in addition to the wet condition of the road caused that first layer of leveling binder to not adhere to the road and to not cure properly. I talked personally to Lindahl Brothers project manager, and they will be completely removing and redoing that layer. So we have taken their concerns on board, and the project will be fixed or no further paving will happen, and we wouldn't recommend anything for pavement. So Lindahl Brothers has been very good to work with. I'd like to apologize on their behalf if they've been rude to residents. It shouldn't be a reflection on their company, maybe certain employees, but they have assured me that they will fix the problems that Alderman Klinker brought out, and we will make sure that they do.
Alderman Carr, this is Allan Stevo.
Yes, Alderman Stevo.
Yes, last Friday I met with Eric Alvarez, Randy Heuser, Jim Polster, Mark Miller, and many residents on Wall Street and Edison Street. And we walked through it, and Mr. Castro was explaining how important it is to start the whole project from the beginning. And that's what the residents are respectfully requesting. Let's start the whole project from the beginning, not just what Lindahl Company outlined, the small projects they outlined, but the entire project. Start from the beginning. And they asked me to express to you that they want it to be done right. And that's the only thing they want. They want it to be done right. They want it to last a long time. We have to build value in our projects. And it was good to meet with them that morning. And I'm expressing their thoughts to you. And we want the project started from the beginning and done right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alderman. Eric, is it feasible for them to restart that project?
Yes, Alderman, that's what we're requiring them to do. They're going
Okay.
to, they're not going to they're not going to fix that leveling binder layer in spots. It's going to be completely removed. Asphalt prime coat's going to be done as should have been done in the first place. And it's going to be completely redone. There's no Band-Aids. They have to redo it. And they're aware of that and agree.
Okay, thank you very much. I
You're
also
welcome.
got an email from Carol DePace Green. There's not a lot of verbiage on here. She sent me a picture of the office at the rec center that says Blue Island Police Department Substation. And she is requesting that sign be taken down.
How new is that? I think that sign was taken down a couple of years ago.
Well, I know she sent several people pictures of it. She sent the email to Randy, Bernie Arzab, Jim Klinker, Dexter Johnson, Terry Horvath, and
Well,
she
Bob
said this sign.
Bob should be able to know. I thought they took that down though.
It's the sign. It's the sign on the door. The lettering on the door, not the outside sign.
Oh,
Right, the lettering on the door to the office.
Okay.
It says Blue Island Police Department Substation. Mr. Jackson, are you there? Mr. Jackson?
Bob, you're on mute.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, Mr.
Mr. Chairman?
Jackson? Yes. Did you hear what I said about the signage on the office door at the rec center?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Carol Green is requesting that we take that signage down. It says Blue Island Police Department Substation
That's been down, ma'am.
on your office door.
Yes, that's been taken down some time ago, back in, before the virus started, back in February sometime.
Okay, because she just sent this on June the 5th.
No one's been in that building, so I wouldn't know, but myself, I wouldn't know how Ms. Green would know that, but that has been off the door for some time. Actually, Tony from maintenance came down and took it off. Back
Okay.
in February.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
That was of this year too, ma'am.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you for your help. So if there's nothing else, let's move on to the Public Works monthly report.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman. The streets and alley repairs, we used 77.5 tons of asphalt, which we're still moving along with it. Street lights, we did 10 street lights repaired, 5+ ComEd ones were submitted also, request. Bulk waste, was pretty heavy, 81 20-yard dumpsters and one tire dumpster. And then, of course, we did our, the first and second Tuesdays of each month, we do the EPA water testing. We read the meters. That's about all that's on this list right now. Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Postal? Okay. Howard Kapari, I see that you did get some information from 2 other companies about rat abatement.
Yes, Howard is here. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want me to talk a little bit about the 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to talk about the 2, the one company, they didn't
Yeah.
really send us anything, and I know you were very helpful. You sent me the ordinance on bids, and so we really don't need to get a 3rd bid on this project.
Not in the amount that's being proposed for either the macro or micro. So let me start from the beginning. So I reached out to 3 companies. The first one is Pest Management Services. The second one is Grizz Pest Management Incorporated. And then the third one is McLeod Services. McLeod Services is the one that provided me with the least information. I kept asking for some type of revised pricing plan and contract. The only thing that they responded, and this was much earlier in time, was just a copy, from the email that they communicated with me that they're going to charge $125 per inspection request. So out of the 3, this would be the one that I would not continue to pursue because they're just not interested, I guess. Pest Management and then Grizz are the 2 companies that are interested in our services, and each one tackles the problem in a different manner. So in the interim from the last meeting, I communicated with all 3 companies, and I gave the example of 2 types of services that Blue Island might be requesting from each of these companies. The first one is the macro level, which looks at the city as an entity, as a whole, to see what type of rodent abatement program should be implemented. The second one is the micro level, a complaint driven by a resident or a commercial. Hey, I have a rat in my backyard. This needs to be captured. Can someone come out here and rectify the problem? So both Pest Management and Grizz have proposed different types of a pricing plan. I'll go quickly into the details. So Pest Management is looking for at least 3 months of services, which is going to come out to $4,980. What you get out of the service is a weekly service visit that deals both at the macro and micro level. And each visit is $415. And that's for the macro and micro for 3 months. The micro level for pest management would be $65 per visit. And the catch is you also have to purchase the trap. So the trap is $26. So let's say in the example that we were given, a rodent in the backyard and this person doesn't know where it's coming from. The first visit would be $65 that would be charged to the city for this person to come out to the site to look at the problem. That person might, provide 1 or 2 traps which have to be purchased by the city, and then they'll probably leave the traps and come back in another week to see how it is. So that would be another $65. So just to give an example, I look at 2 visits at $130 plus $26 for just 1 trap, let's say. That would be $156 at the micro level. Risk management is a different approach. His approach is more flexible, which I think is a benefit to the city. He listed the types of services he does at the micro level. The first visit, he only charges $75 plus he sets the trap and determines how many visits that needs to be done after the first visit. If it's 2 visits, it's $125. 3 visits, $175, and 4 visits, $225. With Grizz Pest Management, he's not asking for, let's say, 3 months of service. He's asking for, if you want to hire me at the micro level, this is what I'm providing. So in this situation, same scenario like pest management, it would be $125 for 2 visits plus the trap included. So At a micro level, Grizz seems like the better option. When it comes to the macro level, he was very honest with me. The way he sees the problem is this: the rodents will not be near the water body areas, and they're not going to be near the railroad. They're going to be attracted to places like restaurants, trash dumpsters, where they're looking for food. So his idea is to focus more on the commercial sector. If there is a rodent problem throughout the city, that's where he would focus. His monthly service charge is $200 per service, right? Or $2,400 per year. If we want to go as the city on a macro level at a quarterly service, that's $200 per service or $1,200 per year. So pest management, which is the Blue Island company, is more restrictive. It's like, we'll provide this type of service, but at least we need to have at least a 3-month guarantee. Grizz from LaGrange is a little bit more flexible. He's willing to work with us at the micro and macro level. And he went into details how he can't do severe treating or dangerous types of treating near water bodies because of EPA. From my experience in conversing with both Andy, who's the owner, Novinger, owner and entomologist, seems to be more engaging. He's really interested in our services. I tried to get him on our Zoom meeting tonight, but he had a prior engagement. He couldn't make it, but he would be more than happy to converse more. So this goes back to the questions that I've written for tonight's meeting. What is the issue that we have in Blue Island? Do we have a severe problem? If it's a severe problem where you have rodents everywhere, then pest management would be the better one because they're going to tackle the problem more in a municipal manner. If the problems are, one neighborhood or another, 3 or 4 complaints, let's say in a 2 or 3 month process, then Grizz management is the better option. And Grizz would be the better option to build out a municipal plan, especially in the commercial areas where we have lots of restaurants overflowing with garbage. If, for example, the building department is not on top of the property maintenance issue, he's going to look at it for pest management. So my question is this to the committee. How serious are we at the micro or macro level? Do we want to proceed only on a micro level because of the funding problems that we have with the COVID crisis? Or do we want to do both micro and macro at the same time?
Alderman Fahrenwald.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Howard. Very helpful and thorough presentation as always. My thought, just myself, of course, and probably given the budget constraints we're under, is I think I'd like to look at this as from a building block standpoint. Why don't we start out with the least amount of activity that we think will have an effect, and if it's not adequate, then boost it up from there. But under other circumstances, I'd probably say let's kind of go at this more aggressively. But unless my only caveat on all that would be, unless you're hearing like so many complaints that we just got to get to this, but my preference right now would be let's start out, let's walk first and then see where that takes us.
Okay, I would agree with you, Alderman Fahrenwald. I know, having had a business in the downtown area and, walked through that area often, I know that many of the restaurants and the grocery stores, they have their own rat-controlled people come in. I don't know that we need a secondary company to take care of that unless we get complaints from neighbors that there's rats coming from the restaurant area. At least for this year, the only complaint that I have had is from Dave Helsley. Last year there was a complaint from someone on the northeast side, but I have not heard from them this year. So I would agree that we should go with the least amount that we can get away with at the time.
Yeah, and to add to your observation, Alderman Carr, the fourth ward is full of restaurants and alleys and so forth. I walk up and down them a lot, and I've only had we've dealt with one complaint last year. So yeah, my observation is similar at this point.
Alderman Carr, this is Alderman Stevo.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to
Go
share
ahead.
I'd like to share an observation with you, if I may.
Certainly.
I have witnessed two sets of foxes walking down the alleys behind Western Avenue looking for rats. And that shows us a serious health issue. And I think we really have to get on top of this. And I would like to see the pest company from Blue Island get the business, actually. I think they're the better option. And I feel he understands our problem. Thank you.
Chairman, can I say something? Jim
Certainly,
Bolster.
Ms. Bolstro. Go ahead.
Isn't this part of the sanitation health code that each business is supposed to have part of their owning the business, and the health inspector comes and inspects the log when they do their inspection, that they have a log that they keep where they, like, once a month, that they do have an outfit come out and keep their stuff up to date? I think each restaurant is supposed to already have this.
I do believe it is incumbent on the business owner. Yes.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure. Howard or
This is Howard.
yeah, I think you or Ackman or Ackman would know more, but
Right.
I would think that there would be part of the, the sanitation health code that they need to supply this. So we're attacking, like you said, we're duplicating something that's already supposed to be done, and they're supposed to maintain it and keep a log.
So this is Howard Kapari, Community Development Manager, for those that are following us on the telephone. Yes, during the business license application process, which I review it for zoning compliance, the building official reviews it for the building permit process, and the fire reviews it for fire. Yes, they do list the companies for pest management. That is correct. When they file for an application, they do that. The trouble we have here is we don't have a consistent health inspector that works here for a long period of time because of the monetary issue, because of the part-time, because we're hiring only
Part-time, yeah.
Retired people. That was the word, retired, because of the money. So every time we have someone that they start the process, they review the restaurant and what have you. This is where we need more of a proactive enforcement. And this is one of the things I asked with the person that I interviewed earlier in the month, that we need to be more proactive on rodents, on grease, right? Grease traps, outdoors, underground, and the areas where they do the frying, right? They have to make sure that the grease caps are cleaned in an annual manner, because that could produce fire. Yes, in a perfect world, that would be captured by a full-time health inspector. Unfortunately, here we only have a health inspector now, currently, without the new one starting, that comes just to do inspections for new restaurants and only complaints. So yes, the problem is what we noticed with Brian Polis, the former building official, and with Ahmed Sandino, the new building official, is that a lot of these restaurants are trying to pack as much garbage as possible in one trash pickup in a week instead of having it twice a week. They're trying to save money. So then they overflow the trash. The building department has been trying to work with these business owners and trying to do enclosures, trash enclosures. Some of them have been successfully done, the ones that are easy to do on the property. The problem comes the ones in the alleyway, right? It's city right away, it's city alley. We don't allow for those types of enclosures to occur. And this is where we have maybe the rodents appearing. So it's a twofold problem. The first one is to have a person that comes to work every week on a part-time basis that restarts this program of inspecting these kind of inspections when she or he is doing it. And the second part is the property maintenance. However, now with the COVID crisis happening, property maintenance inspectors will most likely be looking at seating for outdoor seating and dealing with more of restarting of businesses. So again, this gets pushed back in the background. So this is a troubling problem. I find it very problematic. because I don't think the problem is inside the establishments. I think the problem is the trash that is collected and that's spewing from the trash enclosures. And there are many businesses that I personally visited that has that overflowing.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Kapari. Have you received any other complaints of rats in the city as of this moment?
Not necessarily. I've received maybe 2 or 3 complaints last year in the area of Western and 127th, where you have lots of restaurants like Blue Island Seafood. That's a good example where you have several restaurants in one corridor. Across the street, you have beggars. I'm not pointing at restaurants. I'm just giving the example where you have
Right.
a concentration of these restaurants that you have the rodent problem, the complaints that came in. And of course, your sporadic residential property like Mr. Hasley.
Okay. Well, I think we need to vote on this tonight to kind of get the wheels turning, because this still needs to go through the finance department
Right, finance. And then city council.
and then city council. So if we drag our feet on this too long, it's going to be September before anything gets approved.
Alderman, say something?
Yes, go ahead, please.
So I guess, Howard, I wonder, do you have, is there a recommended course of action that you're making to us?
Well, I was brought into this because of a complaint from Mr. Klinker to the Municipal Services about a rodent abatement program. So my first task was to reach out to these companies and start to create some type of a report with them to see what types of services. And then with each company that I was calling, they were saying, "What's your problem?" So then I started going into micro versus macro, and each one gave me different answers. So then I collected all of these together and I'm presenting to your committee as an example. I understand, pest management services. It's a Blue Island company, but if you're looking at sporadic inspections, Grizz Pest Management Incorporated is the better bang for the buck you get. Because with pest management, you have to purchase the traps. And who keeps the traps when they're no longer used? That's going to be probably Public Works. Plus, pest management is going to look
Or
at
if they get stolen.
Well, yeah, if they get stolen, of course. But pest management is also looking for at least a 3-month commitment, because their rationale is this: they'll provide that service on a weekly basis, and they'll deal with the macro level and they'll deal with the micro at the same time. But if we're looking at just individual cases, then the other one is the better program, the other company from LaGrange. My communications with both have been pleasant. I don't have a problem with either or. The only thing is I think there's going to be more of a commitment from Grizz Management, because I keep speaking with the owner, Andy Novinger, who's the owner and the entomologist. So that's his business, and he's going to take a stake in it. With the other one, we have Mike Brown, who's the vice president and what have you. But they're still sticking with their original contract of $415 per week for a service, with the idea that we purchase the traps, with the idea that we do weekly or bi-weekly inspection. The only thing where they differ from this contract with the one that they first presented is the $65, right, per inspection, with the idea that it's going to be also, the city purchases the traps. So now it's up to the committee to vote on it. Do you want to go with a local company that's going to charge you more, or do you want to go with a more economical company that's not necessarily Blue Island? And I leave it up to the committee to vote on this. I really don't have a stake in this, because I look at both as good. I've worked with pest management services in the past, and I understand what the types of services that they provide. So
Okay,
it's up to the group.
Mr. Kapari, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but once again, we're burning through our minutes very rapidly, and we've got a meeting at 7 o'clock that we all need to get to.
I understand.
Motion then, put something on the table.
Yes, please.
Right, so I'd like to move that we move to engage with Grizz under the terms that Howard Kapari has outlined. The only and in that regard, I suppose we ought to put a cap on their activity and or ask for a report back in 3 months, you know, to see where we stand and make a decision about whether we want to continue on with that program or consider other options. I just think we need to get something started. Personally, I understand Alderman Stevo's, you know, comments, and I'm sympathetic to them. And again, probably if we weren't so stretched for funds, I'd be more open to it. But I think we got to get something going, and probably at the lowest possible cost, see how that goes. And then if it isn't working, then we're going to have to do something different. So I'd like to.
Alderman Fahrenwald, I'll second the motion.
All right, thank you, Alderman.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Stevo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, next, there
So-
was a tree removal.
Candace, can I interject for one moment? So now now the committee gives me permission to continue with this at the finance level, the finance committee level?
I'm going to email the contract to Alderman Donahue with a little note that you're certainly free to,
You know,
contact him
discuss.
also and explain things to him
okay.
by all means.
All right, and then I'll follow it up with the finance at the city council level.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I know you put a lot into this. Next on the agenda was the tree removal by resident. But after looking at the city ordinance for tree removal, I discovered that it really needs to be approved by community development. So I'm taking that off of our agenda for tonight. And I've already contacted Alderman Bellato and told him that he should take that up with his committee, because they are the committee that needs to either turn them down or approve it. So next would be Betty Harmeyer
Yes,
and your water report.
yes. I'm sure you've all received the water report from Alderman Carr, asking if you have any questions on any of it. It was a very simplistic one this time because of the COVID situation. And I'd also like to add that the letter that you had all seen, I've started sending those out as of June 1st. I have received some comments back, some requests for flexible payment plan. And I think there is about 60 to 65 out right now. So I'm pleased at this point that people are receptive to that.
Okay, is there any questions for Ms. Harmeyer?
I just would say I'm surprised, really surprised that we aren't, you know, having more problems there. So that's great.
Yeah, we seem to be doing very well. Thank you, Betty, for all your efforts.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Okay, and then, I'm sorry, I have to keep going back and forth on my computer. I don't believe we have a report for the Recreation Center, but Mr. Jackson, did you have something you wanted to say to the committee? Mr. Jackson?
Bob, you're muted.
Mr. Jackson, are you out there?
Hi, Madam Chairman.
Yes, sir. Did you have something you wanted to say to the committee?
Yes, ma'am. I will be forwarding you a recent picture of the rec center front door where the emblems of the Blue Island Police Department were, and they are down. Unless we repaint the door going to the office that says substation, that's what needs to be. That's the only remnants, the emblems, and everything has been removed from the rec center.
Okay. Thank you very much for that update. I'm just gonna let Miss Green know that you said it was taken down
It's been down, ma'am.
in February, correct?
Yes, it was the request of the mayor some time ago to have that information taken down.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mr. Ruthenberg.
Hello, Chairperson Carr. How are you guys?
We're good. How are you?
Good. Were you able to send out the report that I got to you kind of late to everyone?
I did send it out.
Okay. I guess I would just ask if anyone has any questions or if you want me to go over that or.
Alderman Fahrenwald, I got a question or two.
Yes, Alderman
Go ahead.
Fairwell.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Ruthenberg. How are you tonight?
Good, and you?
I'm doing all right, thank you.
Good.
Probably really one basic question here. Yes, and thank you for this report. Really appreciate it. It's very helpful to see where we stand. I'm going to ask you about the servicescape contract just to make sure I understand kind of how that's going to work going forward. So you said that we show an amount budgeted on the budget report you gave us, a total amount budget of $365,000 for the year. And so far, we have expended almost $50,000. And you told us that the servicescape budget has been reduced by $76,000. So my first question on it is, the $365,000 amount, was that before or the budget was reduced by $76,000?
That's before the budget was reduced.
Now it's lower, okay.
Yes.
So then in other words, we would, then it's going to be about like $289,000 or $290,000, and we've spent $49,000. I guess, and see that we've lost some money. We've lost about $15,000, maybe $17,000, $18,000 this year so far. And I've looked at your revenues. And I guess what I'm trying to get a sense of here is, how do you feel about the revenues going forward? Given what the your fixed costs are and servicescape's going to be, where do you think we're going to wind up at the end of the year?
Well, now that we've got almost everything started, our leagues and a lot of people wanting to play golf, we've compared some numbers, and we do think that we will end up. I can't say exactly how, Alderman Fahrenwald, I can't say exactly where we're going to be right now, because I don't know if, judging by Governor Pritzker's rules, if we're going to be able to have golf outings and that sort of stuff yet. So I'm hoping that we're going to be able to be around where we were last year, but I'm not 100% sure at this moment, to be honest.
All right. Are you looking to at least break even, I guess?
Yes, I could say yes. We're definitely, we are busy now. The mayor comes by a lot. The treasurer stops by almost every day. We are definitely busy. They are helping. The treasurer helps me almost every day to make sure that we will break even at least this year.
And I would just say, that's great. Appreciate you looking into this. From my perspective, I would just, like to say that if we don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the year, hopefully the numbers all stay down and we don't have to go back to a more restrictive situation. But I think we might have to review this again. But from my perspective, that's probably makes the most sense to go ahead and do what you're doing.
Okay, sounds good. And then, at this time next month, I will give you the same thing and update you on the numbers, and hopefully, that gap will close a little bit there.
And speaking of COVID cases, I've been tracking Illinois pretty closely, and right now we have a daily increase of 0.5%, which is phenomenal compared to most of the rest of the country. So I think that we're going to be okay.
We've done our job here in Illinois so far, and we should all be proud of ourselves, I think. But unfortunately, it doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. But I agree with you, Alderman Carr. So far, we're looking good.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Ruthenberg? No? Okay. Mr. Alvarez?
Yes, hello, Alderman Carr. This is Eric Alvarez. I know we're very short on time, so I was hoping that if I could just quickly run through you. We have 3 critical projects I'd like to bring before everybody, and then I know we've got probably 25 left to go through, and I doubt we'd make it, but there are 3 that I think if we don't either move on or decide not to move on this month, it'll make a big difference. So would that be all right, Alderman, if I was to go that
go
route?
ahead.
Okay,
That's
great,
fine.
thank you. So the first project is the 119th Place Alley, Green Alley and Bioswale. We've been awaiting, we haven't signed off on the intergovernmental agreement for this project with the MWRD because of the current economic situation. But I just wanted to let you all know that the MWRD has written the city a letter saying that if we're not to move on the IGA, that's the intergovernmental agreement, by the end of the month, they're going to pull the grant funding because they have other projects that could use this funding. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. I talked to Jim about it.
Okay.
It's on the whole list, but I just wanted to let you all know that it's
Which
going to come.
project is that?
This is the 119th Place Green Alley. On our spreadsheet, the project number is on our spreadsheet, the project number is 19-R0751. It's the green infrastructure grant we received to replace the 119th Place Alley and to build a bioswale at the site of the demolished building by the 119th Street Metro Station. And yeah, unfortunately, like this won't be on hold. They're gonna pull that funding if we don't move on it.
It was recommended. I know that we put it off to another, on standby or whatever, but it was recommended that we go ahead and give the commitment for this because we were thinking that by next year we'd probably be sitting a little bit better than we're sitting right now. So
Okay.
yeah, it was.
This is covered by a grant for $250,000.
That's right, Alderman Carr.
Our cost is $60,000, correct?
Correct.
And that comes out of the water fund.
Yes, Alderman Carr, that's correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Given all the history on this, I am in favor of moving ahead myself.
Okay, can I get a motion then?
So moved.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alderman Carr, should I continue with the other 2?
No, did we lose her? No, she's here. Did we lose her audio?
I'm not sure. I can't hear her either, Jim.
Yeah, I think she was on here twice. She had her computer on plus her phone. I think we lost her phone audio.
I think you're right. Her phone must have gone out.
Yeah.
She should be back along here in a minute, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Eric, while we're waiting, may I just ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Are you going to talk to us about Collins Street?
For sure, I can talk about Collins Street. It wasn't the one that's on this list, Alderman, but for sure. Do you want to do that while we're waiting?
Sure. We just show it as on hold, or Candy's got a note for hold, so I just wanted to find out what's going on there.
Okay, so Jim had actually asked me to help him with an update on this now. So that's Cook County Community Development Block Grant Project, where we have Jim, it's like 280, right?
280.
Of 280, thank you.
Right.
Of grant money, and then the city has to kick in. I don't know. I think it's roughly like 20% of that. Like
It says 100,000 on the sheet here. It says 100,000 on the sheet here.
right, and part of that consists of a deferred sewer cleaning project that's already been
Randy.
deferred.
Here we go.
I got you. You're good.
I don't know what happened. Hello?
Yeah, we lost your audio there for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I had to hang up and call back in.
Yeah.
Okay, so we approved that. I'm sorry, Eric, your next one?
That's okay, Alderman. Thank you. Our next two projects, I think I can explain all at once. They're the Division Street reconstruction between Vermont Street and Broadway Street, and the Western Avenue two-way conversion between Gregory and 127th Street. These are both kind of long-term federal projects that we need the city to put together a resolution approving a resolution that commits the city to these projects in order to continue them moving forward with Southwest Conference of Mayors, who are the people who distribute the projects for the Federal Highway Administration here. Basically, what this means is, from Municipal Services, if these two projects are approved to go forward, I would then take the projects to the Finance Committee, and they would have to say whether or not they would agree to commit to using local funds. For the Division Street reconstruction, we're expecting the agreements to be processed by Springfield August at the earliest, and then the city would probably likely start to see some costs out of the TIF district starting in the fall. And then the Western Avenue two-way conversion is the city won't see costs for the Western Avenue two-way conversion. That's not even likely in 2020. We're talking like 2021. But
Yeah,
let me reiterate those, like even though these are like super long-term projects that we're talking about, like if they come off at any one of the steps in between now and then, it's like kind of like starting from scratch.
Okay, the one project is on the spreadsheet is 20 RO398.
Yes, ma'am. That's right, Alderman Carr. That's the Western Avenue two-way conversion.
And which is the other one?
And the other one, let me find it here. It's from 2017. I don't think, it might not even be on that spreadsheet because it's been on hold in Springfield for over a year now. And of course, now it comes back. So hang on. It's actually not on that list. I'm looking at it now. It's 17R0317. It's the Division Street reconstruction. We started this in 2017, and the agreements have been processing in Springfield for since then. So we're looking at 3 years now, and we're expecting them back in August. But Southwest Conference of Mayor needs us to recommit to doing the project.
I'd like to move in favor of that, since, well, for all the reasons just explained, it makes sense to me.
Okay, I would need a second on that.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so those three projects we've approved. Thank you for your patience, Eric. I know this is a monumental task to go through these one by one.
You're welcome, Alderman, for sure. Anything we can do to help.
Alderman Carr, one quick question.
Yes.
While you were gone, Eric was giving me a little update on the Collins Street project, and really just to cut to the chase, is that in jeopardy for this year, or are we just waiting for things to move along?
Collins Street. Which project is that, Eric?
Alderman Carr, Collins Street would be project number 19-R0380.01. New curbs, new drainage for Collins Street and resurfacing between Western and Vincennes Road. It's CDBG, so Cook County Community Development Block Grant Project, which we successfully applied for in 2019. Alderman Fahrenwald, to answer your question, yes, the funds would be in jeopardy. We have successfully delayed spending CDBG funds, but in my experience, that's only been with projects that are in construction that you can't get done because it's, the winter comes up and it gets too cold to pave or something like that. But
but we just sent an email today that we're waiting on a response for, to see where we're at from the county. That email just went today to see if it's going to be in jeopardy. So we have just a little bit of time to see where we're going to be on this. So we're going to wait for Sylvia to give us a response to see what she says, and then we'll know more. We definitely don't want to do that if we don't have.
In the meantime, I will forward this to finance so that they have a little time to look at it too. I know they're very concerned about how much money, because this comes straight out of our general fund, $100,000, and we really haven't seen the effects of COVID yet on what our finances are going to be. So I'll forward this to finance and let them look at it right away, and they can discuss it there. And I will also send them these other 3 projects.
Great, thank you, Alderman. And so then, I don't know if you wanted to keep, are we out of time?
Yeah.
We are
Whatever you
pretty
want, then,
much out
but
of
I
time.
really appreciate that, taking the time for us to go through those. I thought some of those are quite important, you know, for the city.
Correct.
And yeah.
Okay. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See you all in 5 minutes.